Hi, this is Les Ingelstead, and I am joining you on Universal Interiors, and mighty thankful I get to do that. I am so aware that we are given many opportunities to stop and pause throughout the day. Well, I hope so. I know people get really busy, but I've shared with you, and I'm going to share with you until they say, you don't get to do that anymore, Les. But what I just want to encourage you is make sure you do pause. Take time to rest in the day. And as I often encourage y'all, just to find something that you can read that would just bring a little shine into your day. These days, in the COVID and the uncertainty of what's going on all around us, we just have to understand that above all, our Creator wants us to have peace. He doesn't want unrest. It's not His plan. He wants us to trust Him enough to say, you got this. And no matter what you think of the Creator God, you're making yourself probably your own, because everybody has to have somebody that they trust in, right? However, I certainly encourage you. It's really hard trying to do everything yourself. And God is so big. He is beyond big. And you know what? He's love. It's as simple as that. God of the Bible is love. He tells us that. He makes sure that we can simply understand that He has the best possible way to walk the earth. He really does. He tells us and gives us so many promises. I can't remember right now offhand how many promises there are in the Word. But it's interesting because He says, my peace I leave you. My peace I give you. It's kind of a peace that passes all understanding is what His Word says. So who gets that? Well, even us that choose to walk and follow Jesus, we certainly still have many days of unrest and many days that just we lose that peace. And He tells us that our burdens can be just left with Him. If we could just get that into our being enough to say, I trust you on this, I don't see it. I don't see why in the world something like this has happened. But guess what? This has gone on since the beginning of time. Our world right now, and the way that we see everything blast in front of us, makes it really easy to have fear and to have panic and to have anxiety and to have all that. But why? What good is that going to do? There's just a whole lot of surrendering that each one of us has to do throughout the day. If you're married or if you're an employee or even an employer, you have to answer to somebody, right? You have to surrender maybe your strong will here for a minute to just to see what your boss wants or your husband wants or your wife wants or your kids want, right? Your sister, your mom. Everybody's kind of demanding of your time. But if you have a recipe to say, I don't get it, I can't answer that, but you pause, as I was saying, and take some thought to just, I gotta just rest on this. I got to not try to figure out in my reasoning head, if you're one of those, or anxious heart, if you're one of those. Instead, just pause. See, prayer is a language that all of us can pray, even if you're not even a believer. You meditate, right? What you think on. And if you don't even know what to do there, I hope in your home there's a Bible. You can open it up to just about anywhere. You'll find some direction. Sincerely. It's everywhere in there. 66 books of encouragement. There's also a lot of those little books out there that I often share. And I picked this up the other day talking to a friend in Texas. And boy, what a whole list of majors in her life. Almost losing her child, almost losing their place, almost just losing this because of hormonally things that were going on in her life. She was going on, and she knows she's got God. She knows she can go to Him with anything. But when it gets so heavy, it's hard to even do that. But I encouraged her, I'm like, just go pick up books. There's a book out there that many, perhaps, you know, Jesus Calling. But there's also one that's called God Calling. So you can see what kind of rat-a-tatty looking. This one's from 1945, this particular edition. You can get some definitely in the old place, I believe still. And it's out there, God Calling. Russell is the name of it. But I did a little random, as I often do. And I was thinking about the starving peace this nation in this world is going through. And this, anyways, it was from May 9th. Happens to be my brother-in-law who passed recently. It was his birthday. And I picked this up and I loved what it was titled, Harmony Within. Follow my guidance, he says. You need to kind of be afraid to venture on your own, like the little child who might fear to leave his mother's side. Doubt your own wisdom. Instead, have a reliance on mine, because that will teach you true humility. Humility is not belittling of yourself. It's simply forgetting yourself. More than that, you forget yourself because you're remembering me. So this is what God is sharing to us as we're reading this. This is like a word going into us. He's telling us self, right? We just can't help but think self first. But he's saying humility, forgetting yourself, but don't replace it. You need to replace it because you're remembering him and his promises and what he's going to do for you. It says you must not expect to live in a world where all is harmony. Okay, this is 1945. They just had overcome a pretty major, right, out there in the world. It's telling us, remember, all is harmony. It's not this world that we live in. You're not going to get it. You must not expect to live where others are in a broken accord with you. It's your task to maintain your own heart's peace in the adverse circumstances you are walking. Harmony is always yours when you strain your ear to listen to heaven's music. Doubt always your own power or wisdom to set things right. And ask me to right all as you leave it to me. In other words, empty out. Leave it with them. Go on your way now by loving and laughing. Because God tells us through this author, but he is true wisdom. As he says, I am wisdom, and it's only my wisdom that can rightly decide anything that will help to settle any problem. So rely on me, for all is well. This was actually written in the 30s. These people that write these sort of things stands the test of time, right? Because that certainly could be somebody for today, right? And this, again, was, forgive me if it seemed a little hard to follow. It's just written in a little bit older language. But you can sum it up pretty easy, can't you? We, on our own, have to quit relying on our own. People say, I'm always trying, Les. You talk about this, I'm trying. And I'm like, you know what? Quit your trying and try the trusting. Words spoken to me pretty much every day. Every day, for those of you that don't know, I'm a waitress, a server. And believe me, you have to be a little humble each and every day. Your thoughts that take you off on somebody that's just set you off, and you have to walk back to the table and try to get your joy back on. Well, even in those simple things, have that harmony within. Again, not be relying on the way Les Inglestead thinks and the words that I know, but instead that I have given it over. Because you see, once we give it over, we have an idea that it's just not ours, that we have to carry anymore. We might have to carry it for a while by ourselves, or at least we think that way. But God cannot wait to take that burden off from you. He just really can't. He's got such great, great jobs for each and every one of us here on this earth. Today, we're born for such a time as this. Can we understand that? We are no surprise to our Lord. Each and every one of our families, where we are for however long we are, it's not a surprise. So a quick little shout from another book I'm reading, Shalom Sought. Shalom being peace. You seek it. There's a radical new choice to make. Will I trust in God's goodness to protect me and provide for all my needs, or am I just going to simply trust in myself? There's a search for shalom, or peace. It's infused with a fundamental question. Is life random, pointless, absurd, as it seems to be right now? Or is it ordained, purposeful and meaningful. What are we going to win? What's going to win in our thinking? The abundant indications are not randomness. It's up to us and the desire for what we want to see. Simple faith. That's what I'm going to challenge you on all of this message. Peace within, but it takes faith. And we have a Father who will give to us even the littlest amount of faith to move the mountains that seem to be in our way. Thanks for watching. You make it a beautiful day. We'll see you next time. Thanks.